Penn swimmer Lia Thomas becomes first trans woman to win NCAA swimming championship. Very controversial subject. I know records had been broken or were being broken. This, of course, university level, very high level NCAA. But now we have an actual trophy. We have an actual NCAA championship going on.
Wait, did you say Lia Thompson?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah,
sorry.
Thomas.
I said Thompson before.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
Okay.
But it is Thomas.
It's Thomas.
Thomas began transitioning in 2019 with hormone therapy and followed NCAA and Ivy League rules. However, she faced scrutiny inside and outside the sport about if transgender women and girls should be allowed to participate in female sports. Now, there's something in this article, or maybe I saw it in a different article, but it talks about the ranking of this individual prior to transitioning. And, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Biologically, Lia holds an unfair advantage over competition. This was a petition submitted to the school or to the NCAA that was then obtained by the Washington Post. And this was written, I believe, by other swimmers. Scroll up just a little bit so I get this right. Some of her teammates sent a letter to the school and Ivy League stating that she should not be allowed to compete. And then part of this letter was obtained by the Wall Street Journal. And this is the quote from the letter. Biologically, Lia holds an unfair advantage over competition in the women's category, as evidenced by her rankings that have bounced from 462 as a male to number 1 as a female. So to be clear and to be fair.
Please be clear, yeah.
When you're at that level, NCAA level, 462 is still a hell of an athlete.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. But I don't think there's a person in this room or in this broadcast right now that's going to confuse number 462 with number 1. Number 1's a big difference to come in and dominate to that extent. And let me just lay things out for you. One side of the spectrum, you have letters like that saying, "Hey, this is we don't want this to happen. We think that this is unfair." Other end of the spectrum, you have celebration. That hey, here's a thing that's never happened before. Here is I don't know. To some individuals, here's progress. I'm laying the land for you.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know what's going on out there. We were searching previously for interviews, and this was interesting to me. We were looking for interviews of Lia Thomas, and it's obvious to me as I look at some of these comment sections, as I look at some of these like-dislike ratios, this is a divisive topic that we have found a certain threshold that people have for their tolerance, I suppose, support, whatever way it is that you want to describe it. Here we have a swam interview. Penn's Lia Thomas opens up on journey, transition to women's swimming, and of course, Will still has the like to dislike ratio enabled.
So useful.
Of course, Will does.
You would want to know.
What we see here is 379 thumbs up and 7,800 thumbs down. And the interview, Lia just basically describes this process of hormone treatment. And you have these hormones there. They aim to knock out the testosterone. You wouldn't know anything about that, Jack.
No, I don't have any of that.
Knock out the testosterone and sort of help in the transition from a physical standpoint. And then you have conversations around athletics specifically, which is really what this is about. This is really the creation of these headlines is the key part here is that not just that Lia Thomas won, but that everybody else lost. I know that's where your head went right away.
Yeah. Is it on me now?
No, it doesn't have to be on
I have to
you.
go to the wash.
No, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be on you.
No, listen.
You're taking the. You take that baton. I'll pass you the baton if you like. I have more to say too, but you can have that right now.
Yeah. Well. Just prefacing, I'm totally on board with people, having the right to be who they want to be and feel who they want to
feel. Who they want to feel.
Yes, and
you go out there and you feel who you want to feel.
Feel who you want to feel. And all the power to them. My only sympathy does come with the competing athletes here who, have trained their whole lives and now are kind of thrust into this political, back and forth that they never really asked for. And, I just am sympathetic to them and how now they have to kind of be in the situation, and then it kind of takes away from their own, journeys as well as athletes and swimmers.
This is a slippery subject right here. Mm-hmm. Very slippery subject. Men and women typically don't compete, not in many sports, not at the professional level. It just doesn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we're all fairly aware of why that's the case, right? Now, what comes into question here is when this transition begins to occur, to what extent can these perceived potential advantages, to what extent can they be nullified with some form of treatment? Because this has been talked about beyond swimming. Get rid of the testosterone, increase the estrogen, start to be further along that transition. Probably not in this case eliminate all advantages.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a situation in which, if this happened at an earlier point, that maybe some of those biological elements that happen along the way may not have occurred in the fashion that they did occur?
Mm-hmm.
And this gets into a whole, I said it was slippery before, it gets into a whole other slippery thing of how you draw this rule book that you are proposing here. How you draw it up. What are the parameters? I mean, in fighting, you have weight classes.
Yeah.
In sports, you have, what do you have? You have age brackets. I remember something interesting happened. Obviously, I've talked on this show how I play hockey. One lesser known story about me is that one year I played football.
Wow.
It's a lesser known story.
Whoa.
What position?
I played tight end. Absolutely terrible.
You were terrible.
Well, our whole team. I don't know. I don't know if I was more or less terrible than everyone else.
Remind me, tight end. What is that exactly?
Well, you typically will line up along with the offensive line, like to the end of over there. You don't have to.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I know tight end. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're with the short passes and
typically you're
a blocker also.
Yeah, you're
utility guy, a bit of everything.
Bit of everything. Now, on some teams, they play a significant role on the offense, and other teams, they're, as you mentioned, more required on the blocking side. It depends on, the hands of the individual. They can be a very deceptive player.
Yeah,
but you're not.
But a good tight end will be the difference. I find. Like I was just looking at a list of those tight ends there, and those are all the best players on their team.
A lot of key. I don't know why the hell they put me there. I think it was just like size. A lot of it in football has to do like whoever plays left tackle. You can probably guess what he weighs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a biological. Do you need a large person there?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think we're embarrassing ourselves with the knowledge of football. Or
Absolutely.
At least I am.
It's not important, though.
Yeah, anyway, go on.
It's not important in this story. Mm-hmm. Here's the important part of the story, because it was my first experience with such a thing like this. I was late to sign up to the team. And I had to go register with a group of individuals who they hadn't missed registration like me, but actually something strange had happened. That when they went for the initial registration, they were too heavy. And because football was such a contact sport, rather than do it like we would do it with hockey or any other sport by age, they did it by size. So if you were an enormous person at the age of, 12, you wouldn't be absolutely
crushing.
just rolling over. Now, you could make an argument in this case that, well, hey, it's not that person's fault. They're a giant 12-year-old. They should have the opportunity to play with 12-year-olds and dominate. But then somebody else would have the viewpoint that, well, no, physically we want to match these groups up. And generally there's not that many outliers. So it's not that many kids that are going to be displaced elsewhere. But of course, what ended up happening, just like fighting, is kids wanted to play in the lowest weight bracket they could.
Right.
To have those advantages of being physically larger. Now I'm using physically larger as one potential advantage, one potential biological attribute that gives you an advantage. And you're a fight fan. You see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
Guys try to push the weight cut to get the slimmest advantage because guess what sports are? Competition. And you want to do everything in your power to get a slight edge. I mean, you'll take an enormous one, but at the highest level, and as you continue to go higher up, every little tiny advantage matters.
Yeah.
So what happens is I'm in this car to go to this registration, and I'm with all the kids who never made the initial weight.
The fatties. Right? Sorry.
He worked so hard.
The big boned.
He worked so hard.
Listen, in football, that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Be a hell of a
Call
blocker.
them a
worked
power
so
forward.
hard.
Yeah.
He worked so hard. Yes. And it's a hot day. We're going down there in the summer. And I'm in a minivan with the guy who's the coach of the team. He's taking the group of us down. He's like, great, you're signing up. I'm sitting in the very back. Before we get into the car, they take each one of these kids that missed weight and they wrap them in garbage bags. It's hot. It's the summer. They wrap them in garbage bags, stick them in the minivan, and crank the heat.
Wow.
They turn that thing into a sauna. And I got to go to Burlington for this weigh-in. Is the most miserable car ride of my entire life. The hottest day. I thought I was going to pass out. I was like, I'm not playing this. I'm not doing this. This was the worst decision of my life.
How much did you have to sweat?
I didn't know. No one told me that in registering for the thing, like they just said, oh, we got a ride for you. They never said this is going to be the sauna box minivan of doom.
How much weight were they hoping they were going to lose on that car ride? Like, how much can you actually lose?
Well, it's exactly like MMA. They really are only like a pound or two off.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get below it. Let me tell you what happened. Not a single one of them made the weight cut.
Yeah.
All of those kids had to go up to the next bracket and be the smallest players at the higher bracket, which is what they didn't want to do. Yeah. And then I was no problem making it in. I wasn't that heavy. Competition, physical competition, is a very strange spectrum, and it's really important. You know, it's really it matters a lot to people. It can be a major character builder for people. It can be a life's work for people, and so it's understandable that there's sensitivities around this subject, and it's understandable that opinions are split, and it's understandable that some people are upset, and I think. And I understand that. That's what I understand.
Yeah. Well, I saw on Impulsive that Dana White was on there recently, and they asked him about this story. And they asked him about if he would ever accept transgender athletes in the MMA and UFC. And he said it did happen once where somebody that was born biologically male, transitioned, and then fought with females and was winning until all of a sudden one day she got beat up by another female. And I guess that kind of throws in the face this whole advantage. Like, obviously there is an advantage, but don't put it past them getting beaten. Like, don't put it past, somebody beating her in a race.
Amanda Nunes is putting you out, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Put
dispute.
me out.
Oh, you're done.
You think so?
You're cooked, brother.
Inside one?
Oh my, 10 seconds. Yeah, you're gone. You're running out the cage. Let's be honest.
She'd fold me into a pretzel.
In your little Speedo. No, absolutely. Like that's why I said it was important to say when I was looking at the statistics, it was important for me to say 432 to 1. Like the individual was already a good swimmer, right, at the NCAA level.
So you're saying I'd get beaten up by her?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
I know I would, 100% I would.
Yeah, so it all depends, but what we're really talking about, Jack, is at the competitive level.
Yeah.
At the highest level. So that means Nunes versus John Jones or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Sweet.